Good afternoon, Team Southern. Welcome to our conflict plan for 2025. I want you all to have a little bit of a sit down and watch this one to understand what we're going to work on for the next couple of months. For those of you who wish to take part in the Conflict Cup TAFE course of 25. Yeah, let's call it that. We're going to pretty much run through some myths, some ideas, and some plans for the next couple of months. And I'd like you guys to practice as much as you can on these kinds of things and try to get away from the stuff you've been doing. Because looking at the stats, if I look at our list of players, we have a whole two people who have a better handicap than they did 2 years ago. That'd be Hawkeye and Craig. And I think Craig had a bit of a John Kelly handicap before he started. So Hawkeye's probably the only real one we have that's getting better. And we're wondering why we can't win the Conflict Cup. We need to get better, and we need to be in a place where we make less mistakes. And that's pretty much the plan of my Conflict Cup for this year. We are going to play to make less mistakes. So let's get rid of a few of the bullshit myths to start with. And the idea of gamesmanship and putting pressure on people and this kind of nonsense. There's no such thing really of gamesmanship in match play, and especially when you're behind, because the other guy's leading and he doesn't give a shit what you say. So the idea of gamesmanship at our level isn't really going to work. It's not like cricket where you can sit there and nag them. The only option you really have, I like to get them out of sync, is to try and make them uncomfortable with speed of play. So if they're slow, you speed them up. And if they're fast, you slow them down. But the plan is you do it without compromising your game. So if you're a slow player and they're a slow player, carry on. If you're a fast player and they're a fast player, carry on. Or if you're a fast player, you might be able to slow them down a little bit. Take an extra look at a part, take an extra look at a shot. But again, don't compromise your play. If they're slow, very easy way I use, because I'm quite a quick player, is I'll start walking. I'll hit my shot and start walking up the side. Or I'll sit there, and if I'm hitting second, I'll be calling out to them and saying, so-and-so, come on, mate, need you to play a shot, or are you having a shot, or can you guys work it out? Or if you want to be more friendly, it's like, come on, mate, we've got to catch up with the guys in front here. We're a little bit behind. Drop that shit in there, all right? Speed of play is probably the only real gamesmanship you've got in match play. So as a part for pressure and putting pressure on them, you put pressure on them by playing well. That's the only real option you've got. The whole nonsense of, I made him putt the last putt after giving him 4-foot putts all day, and then it's all bullshit. It's just something idiots used to say back in the day to make themselves look good. In fact, let's put it this way. If you think about the putt and you're wondering whether or not he should putt it or not, you make him putt it. Because one hole means so much in match play. It's the difference between being one down and square walking up 17. Think of it that way. If you're thinking about whether to give him the putt, you make him putt it. And you just go, mate, you have to putt that. Sorry, off you go. If it was a gimme, it should be a tap in. Now, back to the basics, the also very boring basics. That's what we're going to work on. We're going to work on basics. We're going to work on pitching, chipping, and putting. And there's only 3 drills. And we're going to I've got a mate organised to do a chipping afternoon, a little bit of a group session with everybody. Probably about 2.5 hours long one Sunday afternoon. Get you to come along and he will run the clinic for chipping, because chipping's important. Putting is just distance control, and pitching again is distance control. So they're the 3 we're going to work on. They're the only 3 I need you to work on, but I need you to own them. Not just, I'm a good pitcher, I can pitch. I need you to own it. I need you to be able to hit the numbers, proper numbers, and practice it. Because, quite frankly, I am a golf Santa. I know when you're full of shit. I know when you're lying. And I know when you worked on it, because you can see it a mile away. And the other thing is, if you want to be that guy 50 metres out on the 18th with everybody watching, and you're walking up there hitting this flub shot into the right bunker that only went 30 metres, everybody's going to know. So if you're going to put some effort in, put some effort in. Don't just half-ass it. The second part of all this will be the mental game, because that's how we're going to win. We're simply going to grind these buggers down by making less mistakes and having the right attitude. So mental's important with regards to choosing the right shot and picking the right shot and playing the right shot. And that's probably more aimed at the lower markers and the higher markers who are just trying to get somewhere up near the hole where they can hit a ball somewhere close to a green. But if you want to think mental discipline, it's the part where you don't lose your bottle. If you're sitting there having tantrums and throwing things out of the crib, halfway round and you're only 2 down, then you've got problems. You need to stay positive, keep the attitude going, keep the thinking working, keep everything in your head going. How do I win the next hole? Or how do I not lose the next hole? And with regards to that, we have a cool little saying is when you're ahead, don't change your game. Don't get more aggressive, don't get more defensive. You just keep doing the same thing. Greens, fairways, greens, fairways, greens. You grind them down, you make them chase you. And when you're behind, you grind. So when you're behind, you make sure you stay in every hole. You're not giving them another hole. You just stay there. Hit the fairway, hit the green. Your job is to make them change, not you to have a tantrum and all of a sudden your game falls apart. Because our idea and our way of winning this is that it's easier to score 2 points than it is to score 3. So you only need to score lots of 3-pointers if you have lots of wipes. If you don't have lots of wipes, then every 3-pointer is going to be a win or a square. And even the 2-pointers are going to do pretty good around some of the golf courses we're playing. Our job is to get rid of the 1-pointers and the wipes. In fact, the 1-pointers I'm not too fussed about. We have to get rid of the wipes. We can't have wipes and win match play. You can't be pressure on somebody having wipes. So make sure you got 2. If you get 3, fantastic. But your job on every hole is to sit there and go, how do I not wipe this hole? Really, really, really important. So let's go through some statistics. All these data is from ARCOS, that thing you stick at the back of the club and it measures stuff. I want you to stop working on tee shots. Hit a few drives if you want, but I want you to stop working on tee shots. Unless you're having a tantrum. If you're having a bad day and you just want to go and beat the crap out of something, knock yourself out. But tee shots don't make your golf different. They don't make it different. They don't make it better. They don't do anything because it's not a major part of the game. If you're sitting there looking at your tee shots, your target's usually 30 to 40 meters wide, and it's probably more because most of the rough we play on isn't exactly penal rough. The only real advantage you have for that tee shot is just be a little bit closer to the green. And when you're talking 20 to 30 meters, which is a big difference, it doesn't make that much difference at your level for the approach shots. So if you've got 100 meters in, you've got 120 meters in, you're going to hit the green basically the same amount of times. So trying to push the driver on every hole is pointless. Find a shot that you can play every single time that you're really, really good at and just keep playing that shot. And that goes back to mental discipline. Find the shot that works, keep doing it. Bore them to death with fairways. Colin, when he is in his absolute prime, is hitting this baby little cut straight up the left-hand side of the fairway that comes back. Doesn't go that far, but doesn't need to because he's got a shot at the green. And he stays in the point, and that's why he's a lower marker than most of the other guys here. He keeps it in play and plays better shots. The same shot over and over and over again. The bit at the bottom where I honestly didn't hit anything over 9-iron, there's a palm tree about 106 meters off the practice tee at Bayview. And I would have hit close to 10,000, 12,000 balls at that tree and inside 30, 50, 70, 90, 110 over and over and over and over again. And that just improved my contact, improved my accuracy, improved my swing. Because what I can do with a pitching wedge and a 9-iron, I can do with a 7-iron. There's no real difference. The difference when you're practicing, though, is you're working on contact with the shorter shots. So it's really important to understand that tee shot's not what you should be practicing. You should be practicing the approach play. Because this is where me, much better than you. I do hit a little bit further than most of you, but nowhere near when it comes to the approach play. I am miles different. Look at the greens in reg. 60% versus 30%. I hit twice as many greens. That means I hit 15, you hit 7. Now, if we can get that number from 7 to 10, it makes a massive difference. So approach shots are to be focused on. Really, really, really important. The second part is our chipping. This is a known quantity for donkey's years. I've watched you guys chip and most of you suck. There's a couple of you that can chip, but we've got to really fix our chipping. And I'm organising a afternoon at Bayview. If any of the boys are Scooter, if you want to come up from down south, you're welcome to stay at my place. to save the drive home. But we're organising, I've got a tour pro, Jack McLeod, who's a pretty good golfer. And he specialises in chipping and putting. And we're going to do a lot of work on chipping there because chipping's important. We've got to get you up and down a lot more than what we have at the moment. And if we can just turn a couple of those into up and downs, it's 2 more holes you don't have to win. Putting is the one I've got a drill for that's coming through in video. It's going to be the first video. And here's the thing about putting. You don't need to make more putts. Okay, if you're a tour pro from 10 feet, you're going to average 30 to 35%. That's on perfect greens that you know and have played before, that have putt maps for and 2 people to read it, and not to mention you're pretty good at someone who practices for probably 3 hours a day they're putting. Compared to you who are going to be playing on a shitty green, bumpy as hell, soft and growing poana, you practice 15 minutes a month, maybe 10 minutes before each round, and there's just you. You're not going to make more putts. If they go in the hole, you're beauty. Where we make money on the putts is we stop the 3 putts, because the 3 putt percentage is killing you. I average 1 3-putt every, I don't know what numbers that is, but 3 3-putts in every 100 holes. It's nice. You've got a 10%. So if you've got 10 holes, you're 3-putting one of them at least. So we need to get those 3 putts down. And that comes from distance control, not accuracy. And that's what we're going to work on, distance control with putting. The second part, which is the important part, is the double bogeys. If you reduce your double bogeys by 50% and win 2 to 3 more holes, you can do it without having to have the 3-pointers. It's not the 3-pointers you're going to win. They're going to come because you're going to have lots of shots anyway. It's the lack of wipes. And when you're having 6, or let's say 3 for the 10 markers, let's say there's 5 wipes around, that's 5 holes you've lost. Absolutely lost. Now you're starting to see the difference, aren't you? Let's say we take 1 of your 3 putts away and 3 of your double bogeys away. 4 holes up from what you are now. Starting to see where we're aiming here? We want you to hit more greens, less 3 putts, and less double bogeys. All of a sudden, we're 3 to 4 holes up before we've even got to the front tee. And that's where the preparation comes in. Forget the tee shot practice. Everything you do with your pitching will flow to your tee shots. If you want to hand with driver, it's pretty hard to do with most of you guys because there's a lot of movement and everything else going on. So just deal with the driver the best you can. Practice it every now and then. But the driver's a specialty shot. Understand that. It's completely different to everything else you hit. Not important. 10 shots around with a driver, 12 shots around with a driver. We're going to work on 3-putt reduction, and you'll be given the 4T drill, which I'll send through this week. It's really good. It comes from Aimpoint. It's without all the technical stuff, but it's a really good drill. And if you ever see me go to green, the first thing I do is I put 2 tees down and work out my 10-foot distance, and you'll see that. I did a video 2 days ago on pitching distance drills. I'll release that next week for you to work on. And then we'll do the course with Jack down at Bayview. Next month I'll organise it for. And we're basically just going to learn the 2 shots. The one that goes 25% and rolls 75%, and the one that goes 50% and rolls 50%. Some of the advanced guys may want the 75-25. We'll deal with that when we get there. But everyone's going to turn up with those 2 chip shots, and they're going to be good at it. The last one is a video I'm going to send around this week as well on bounce. I'll probably do it before the pitching one because bounce is important. You guys, you've heard this from me enough, and I've had this issue for years. Trying to get a mid-marker to open the club face is just brutal. And there's a good Ian Poulter video on Sky Sports where he explains bounce and why it's important. But all of you guys chip with too much lean, too steep, and you bring the ground in. And it's just stupid. Absolutely stupid. You're just pissing shots away. And that's not a technique thing. That's just a knowledge thing. For you guys, you want to keep it square, keep it square, keep it square. And everyone else is like, wind it open, hit it fat, and the ball's fine. So we'll have to improve this bounce thing. So I'll send you the video on bounce from Poulter. It's on Sky Sports if you want to go looking for it. Just look up Poulter bounce chipping, something like that. It'll come up on YouTube, but I'll send you a link to it shortly. So that's my plan, guys. I wish to reduce your 3 putts by a couple of shots. I reduce your double bogeys by as much as I possibly can. And I want you to be able to stop duffing the ball in front of you with pitching. And I think with those three, it's going to add, it's going to take 4 or 5 shots off your round, which is 4 or 5 holes. And that's how we win. Hope you're having a cracking afternoon. More stuff coming soon.